What's going on, YouTube? We're all the way out here in New Jersey, New York,
Jersey,
basically,
yeah.
right? Just Drive Cars and Life. My name is Naveed. I'm your host. I got Cam here to our left, and our first car celebrity enthusiast, Rob Ferretti.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. It's been a really nice opportunity for us to be here. So, and for you to be our first, car celebrity enthusiast,
Happy to be the first. Somebody's got to be.
I mean, like, I told Cameron, I was like, dude, I just got off the phone, on Instagram, I was like, I just talked to Rob Ferretti, and he wants to meet us, and he didn't even believe me at all.
I thought he was like crazy.
Yeah, he was like, no, there's no way in hell. I was like, no, he answered, and I showed him the screen video and everything. So, yeah, and we're like, oh my gosh, planning for all this stuff, just coming out here in New York and New Jersey and staying out here, and then obviously the food out here, incredible. So obviously, thanks a lot for your recommendations.
No problem. If I had $1 for every dude I met off of Instagram, I'd be up to $2 now.
Right? Yeah. No. We like I said, like you're just a car guy, just like us, basically. So really simple and easy. But compared to where you started 20 years ago and where you are now, I'm pretty sure it's a lot more easier to be
geographically. I'm within like 3 miles of where I started.
Right.
But just like to have fun with cars, and it just works. If you can take two approaches to life, you can be a professional or you can just have fun.
Gotcha.
I went the fun route.
Nice. And it's been working out so far. What's been like the biggest challenges?
Probably inconsistencies. Like it's if you were going to go, and if I was going to go like the not corporate route, but if I was going to go a more professional route, I'd probably be in investment banking, be making $2.5 million a year. Instead, I'm playing with cars.
Basically, right.
So it's two different paths in life. I don't regret a day of like not having a schedule, not knowing what day of the week it is.
Of course not. Yeah.
And just enjoying life. So
there you go. I like how it's just making it super simple and easy, nothing complicated. Yeah,
you know what? It's a lot of people don't like. You get one crack at life. I don't know if I'm going to get hit by a bus tomorrow on the way home from here. Who knows? I
think in my opinion, how your level of gratitude is and your level of empathy, it just makes life so much easier because there's so many picky people out there,
and nothing really bothers me. So
right.
I can just sort of go out and enjoy myself and make the best of what I've got in front of me.
When you don't care, right?
I don't care, exactly. And but there's a lot of, I feel like if I went the other route, I would be more concerned that my private time, like travel schedule or something. Okay, I've only got 3 weeks a year to travel, so I want it to be awesome.
Right.
Now it's like I went somewhere, didn't like it, go somewhere else next week.
Interesting.
And you just take a different approach. It's a much more laid back approach. I don't really get bothered by a lot of stuff. So
I see.
I'm happy with the direction I went.
So based off of the whole entire, traveling and cars and so on and so forth, like what's been your best car experience?
They're all, and it's cliche, but like they're all awesome. And
there's got to be one though that comes up and say, "I'll do this."
It's always like
every day.
It's always like the first. Probably our first trip to Italy, where we went and rented an R8 and drove up to Stelvio Pass. That was awesome. Going up to Koenigsegg up in Sweden and doing that experience with Matt Farah for a week. Not a week up there, but we went down to Copenhagen, Nürburgring. We did all that fun stuff. That's great. That was my first time driving the Autobahn. But I'm telling you, I've had so many great experiences driving all these great places all across the world that to say like, what's that one standout trip? I don't have it. Because they're all like, I as I said, I make the best out of anything. So it's not like one just went better than the other. Yeah. It's just I have fun sort of wherever I am and with who I'm with.
It's kind of like the traveling experience when somebody tells you what's really your favorite place so far. And you're like, dude, I've been to so many places, I can't tell you which one is nice. So.
And like, I'll remember more so the stuff that was negative. Like, oh, there was this person on the trip that I didn't like, and I had to stick it out with the guy for the week. And like, that's sort of what I remember more than like, other than that, we're just having a great time.
Tell us about your worst experience.
Teddy was a pretty crappy experience.
Okay.
So we were filming the same trip, which was also one of the best trips.
Right.
Tom Morningstar was out there filming for us, and he said, "Oh, my buddy Teddy's going to come join us." And I was like, all right, whatever. Like it's like we're sort of like, it's not an open invite. We're here, we're filming, we're doing, it's like a professional thing, or as professional as YouTube gets. And you don't just like invite people, but if you want your buddy to come down and you go to dinner with him, we're going to do our thing and you guys go to dinner together.
Okay.
And we get there and, well, I got there late because we had 2 BMW press cars, and whatever cheap ass journalist was in the car before me turned the navigation to avoid toll roads. So I was backroading my way through Switzerland, which sounds as remote as it gets.
Right.
It really is. Like, Switzerland's a very rocky terrain, and we got there like 2 hours after Farah got there in the M6.
Oh God.
So they were already at the hotel, like drinking, checked in. And I get there, there's a guy with this skateboard, and like he's got his arms up, and he got the pits on his shirt cut out for ventilation. Like, we're not talking little holes, like you're talking like, and I'm like, all right, who is this mutant? And so it didn't get better from there. He was exactly what you'd expect him to be. And like, I've never like, I feel bad like throwing somebody out, but like in the morning he shows up to like tag along with us, and I'm like, look, pal,
it ain't happening.
Like, free world, you can go where you want, but you're not coming with us. Like, you've offended everybody within minutes of meeting them. Everybody. Like, whether they met you at the same time or different times, you've offended everybody. Wow. And on top of that, like if you want to go, you know where we're going. You can go show up, hang out with your friend. You guys do what you do, but you're not tagging along with us. Oh, wow. So he like tucked his skateboard between his legs and left. But he was just a proper mutant. Matt Farah's dad, very successful guy, had a private jet. He was trying to get Matt Farah's dad to like, he's essentially saying that Matt was a dick because he's like, hey, could you ask your dad if I could jump on the jet to go to Europe? He's like, no, like I don't even fly on my dad's jet. Why who are you? Oh, dude, it's called jet hiking. Like 78% of private jets have empty seats going. And I was like, great. Like, you're not going to Europe on my dad's jet. It's so, but like, he's that type of guy that was like offended that like Matt wouldn't ask his dad to stick him on a private jet when he's going over there, bring him to Europe. And it's like, that's absurd. Like, that's the type of guy. Yeah, and Matt was buying, like when they were at the bar when I got to the hotel, this is in Lucerne, Switzerland.
Gotcha.
And they're at the bar, and Matt's like, you know what, I'll get the first round. Like, everybody's like, oh, yeah, we're good. Okay, well, I'll get the check. You know what, I got this. And when Matt gave him, like, that he was paying for it, it's like, oh, well, you got, can I get one to go too? It's like, who does this? And it's so just like, he's that guy. And it's just like, just get out of here. So that guy I remember as ruining my experience for one night.
Gotcha.
And even at a distance, it's like arm's length, like, I'll remember Teddy forever.
Oh, gosh.
So,
well, I think not only that, regardless of the bad experience or the good experience, I think the people that you get to meet, the cruises and the rallies makes it a lot more fun. And then you start turning into this family that you never thought like it would work that way, right? Like oh, he's a good person, he's a great person, I'll do this with him any time of the day or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, over the years I've dialed in the crew. Gotcha.
Then you'll see who I hang out with all the time. But those are like a lot of people. I've got friends that I've had for 20 years.
Right.
And I'm pretty good at picking and choosing. I've learned a long time ago, having a Lamborghini doesn't make you my friend. Like, you can be an asshole with are we cool? No, you could be an asshole with a Lamborghini. I don't need to hang out with you. You could be an asshole with an Enzo. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah, and I've already told Cameron, I was like, I'm not really a big fan of Lambos. I'm not a big fan of McLarens at all. It's just like, it doesn't seem that appealing to me.
They're great cars. Don't get me wrong. They're great cars. Super fun.
True.
I have a problem more so with owners than I do cars.
Correct.
Yep. So
correct. Yeah.
And like, I don't care if you like stanced Miatas. Like, if you're a cool guy, it doesn't really bother me.
We've got different tastes.
Yeah, but we've totally got different tastes. But like, I've got no problem. You're a good person.
Correct.
But like, then some guy pulls up in a Pagani Huayra and he's an asshat, and like, I'm like, well, everyone's like, oh, that guy. I'm like, great. I don't need to talk to him. I don't care. I don't want to hear his stories. I don't want to hear anything. He's an asshole.
The ego becomes an issue.
It's not an ego. It's like, it's how you treat people. Yeah. It's like the aura that you're better than somebody because you have something that they don't. Like, that's the sort of stuff that bothers me.
I see. That's fair.
So that's like the like being rude to waiters or waitresses, like stuff like that. Like, I write people off instantly because that's who you are.
Right.
That's not like, and whether you're doing it to show off to me or that's just who you are, either way, I don't need
There's got to be like a humane aspect to it. You got to be a good person.
Just don't be an asshole.
Basically.
It's a pretty basic formula.
I was going to go with what's important is to add value to the other person so that they can be successful by not being an asshole.
I mean, people can be successful in spite of you being an asshole.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not looking to, like, I think you're in charge of your own life. You make your own decisions. So you can't be like, I'm an asshole because he's an asshole.
Right.
So you can't, like, and I had this when I used to sell the DVDs and everything like that. Parents would come up to me like, yeah, what are you teaching these kids?
Right.
And I'm like, it's not my job to teach your kid right from wrong. It's your job to teach your kid right from wrong. Like, do they go watch a movie and then go shoot up like Nakatomi Towers? No, they know the difference between when you should be like going in and lighting up a Christmas party.
Speaking of DVDs, do you have any leftover DVDs?
All those
Shut up.
So.
Oh man, I think it was just really cool for us when we were watching the YouTube videos and you were promoting the DVDs. I'm like, oh man, it's from such a long time ago. But hey, the fact that you're still keeping it, it's like, wow.
I keep them. Like people buy them still.
Yeah,
like,
why not?
You forget, like I don't do anything on disc, but other people do.
Yeah, I completely understand. Yeah, for sure. Oh man, but it's history. It's history. That's always going to stay.
It'll always be out there. Yep.
Yeah, and currently some of your stuff is now getting on Amazon Prime.
It's been on Amazon.
It's been on Amazon Prime. Okay, cool, nice. And when we just watched your recent episode too, with where Tiara was getting pulled over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really interesting episode. But and to sum it all up, all of your episodes, it's very it really has a grasp. You want to just keep on watching. There's a sense of like I said, gratitude in that aspect. You're just like, interesting. Like, what's going to be next? What's after that? Or why is he acting this way? Or why is this response that way? And every single response has a consequence.
I pass through the logic on it as well.
Right.
So I explain, like, here's the decision, here's why I made the decision.
Correct.
So people can sort of learn.
Correct.
And whether they agree or disagree with my opinion, at least I explain it.
Right.
I've never liked somebody who can't substantiate or like, well, this is my opinion, that's just because.
Right.
I'm like, or even like, this is the company policy, just because. Well, why don't you tell me? If you tell me why the company policy exists, I'm cool with it. Mm-hmm. But if you have no rational basis in which to make a company policy, then I've got an issue with that.
Right. So. And with your rental company, it seems like you run to issues all the time, basically.
It's just any business runs into issues.
Basically.
Like a restaurant deals with crap all the time. Like a lot of, there's always going to be that level of problems that any business has. No business is like flawless. You either have people stealing from you, you have people like breaking stuff, you have people trying to sue you because you weren't equitable to them. I mean, you name it. There's always 1,000 things people can do.
And back in Dallas, or just from the majority of the people that I hang around with, like I asked them the same thing, like, hey, you could have run it against an auto rental company. Like, why aren't you doing it based out of Dallas or something like that? They're like, well, the market's not here.
Yeah, there's enough of a market in Dallas. It's like a secondary market.
It is, but it's just like, I think more of it, though, they just don't like dealing with the bullshit that goes behind it, you know? So
absolutely.
How do you? I don't get it.
I've just been doing it for so long. And like, I've got the processes in place that most of the crap that a lot of people deal with, I don't have to deal with.
So it's like second nature to you almost?
Yeah, and I've weeded out the customers. So like those customers don't even get through my screening process. Really? So the people that would be the problem, I generally don't have to deal with.
Interesting. Gotcha. Was it hard in the beginning when you were running it?
No. I mean, it's just like, when you've got a knack for something, and it just sort of becomes second nature. And I'm very good at problem solving. I'm very good at getting stuff resolved, coming up with processes that make things work correctly versus like, oh, let's try this. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this. So like, I'm just like, this is what's going to work, and it works.
Is that why you started in the first place?
No, it's because I wasn't doing anything else.
I see. Well, what would you have done if you didn't have
I
this?
I was making DVDs back in the day. I met Noah, who was starting the rental company.
That's right.
And I would work 3 months a year, and that's like, it's completely flexible. I would just work at night. So I'd help with the rental company during the day, and I would edit my DVDs at night, or I'd be filming on the weekend, and the cars are out already. So it's all very easy.
Okay, interesting. Now, as far as car shows, I understand you say SEMA is a good place to go hang out with your friends.
Sure.
But what has been your ultimate best car show to go to? Like, you got Geneva Car Show, you got SEMA, you got Detroit, you got...
I was supposed to go to Geneva this year. Pininfarina invited me out, but that got canceled.
Right, because of COVID, right?
Yeah, then I was supposed to go to Maserati's unveiling in Italy. That would have been
Mhm.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also COVIDed out.
I see.
I would say, I mean, I don't really care for car shows.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if I go to a car show locally or something like that,
Right.
like I'll pull up and then next thing you know, I've got a crowd of people around the car.
Right.
And then like I'm there for an hour and a half talking to everybody, and then I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go.
And you're
I saw no car show. So like whether I pull up in my Mercedes or my Corvette, it gets like it's just like a weird. I can go anywhere and not be noticed, but then if I go to a car show, you're in that context. So
so you try to stay away from that.
So I like it, and like I like to drive, and when you like to drive, like I've seen all the cars. So I'm not going to go see anything that really gets
You've seen
me
them,
going.
you've driven them, so it's not like you're losing any type of bad experience or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'd rather go driving. If I don't
Correct.
have a ton of free time,
Right.
and if I'm going to take my free time, I want to enjoy it. And like
Correct.
walking around a car show, sure, it's all right,
Correct.
but like I'd rather like even SEMA. I don't mind going to SEMA because I see my other industry friends that we get together for the week or whatever for the couple of days, and it's like the dinners, it's the drinks and going out at night. That's part of the appeal of SEMA. That's what brings everybody in.
I see.
Every manufacturer's doing parties and this and that, so it's fun. More so than me being like, oh, I can't wait to check out the new wheel technology in Hall C. I'm like, I don't care about that. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Right.
It's completely fair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason why not. I mean, basically, when we go to the car shows, we just go there just to hang out.
yeah,
You know, and we already know the cars that are showing up. We already know the people that drive the cars. You know, and so me and Cameron are the same way. We don't really like to hang out with like the bigger crowd, or in terms of like, oh, these guys like all of them got Lambos, or all of them have McLarens, or like this. So we're pretty selective as far as like who we want to hang out or who we want to spend our time with, because we like driving our cars. You know, but as soon as we get around people that are super picky or that they are just
Oh dear.
Yeah, you want to talk about your picky moment?
The same person that you were talking about earlier.
Oh gosh, yeah. So let's not even go there.
We don't have to go there right now.
No, we don't have to go there right now. I mean, it's just it's really bad when like people don't listen, especially when you're trying to run a cruise or when you're trying to run a rally, and they just want to go out of their way and just like basically make it their own show, or like make it about them. And to get around that is quite a challenge for us. But at the same time, you got to live and learn as you go. You got to learn from the experiences, you know, especially the bad ones. So I can see why it's so easy for you, because he's been doing it for 20 years versus us. Like how I came into the cruises and rallies, it was literally during COVID, and it was I think it was sometime last year, like May or June. And I don't know where these guys are coming up and saying, hey, Naveed, run a car cruise. And I'm like, all right, sure, let's get 20 cars. And sure enough, I go to the parking lot. There's 80 cars in the parking lot. And I'm like, well, I can't run 80 cruises at once, or 80 cars at once. Like, that's going to be hard to manage. And then as soon as I ran that, people were starting bad-mouthing it. Oh, man, this is a horrible cruise. I can't believe this guy set it up. And I was like, man, I can't do 80 cars. So I died it down to 70 cars, then down to 60, 50, 55, 40. And then I basically thought like you, and I was like, you know what? 20 cars is enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's less of a, you know, deal breaker, you know, less of a headache, you know, and you can manage it easier too. And it becomes more fun. Yeah. You know, versus people getting lost or people.
It's less clicky. The bigger it goes, the more people.
Correct.
And when I say click, the more people form little groups.
Right.
And it becomes more spotted. Like, so like everybody's at their group table. Yeah. And then the only thing they're doing is sort of driving together.
Reservations for hotels, reservations for food. You know,
and then all the restaurants need group menus. Then you want, where's the police escort? Where's this? Where's that? Like it becomes a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, for sure.
15, 20, 25 cars is manageable.
Okay.
And it's a lot more fun. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody sits at random tables with each other because it's now one group versus multiple groups.
It creates this quality of positivity within all the people, because they're like, okay, I can talk to this guy. I don't have to talk to the 40th car or 50th car or whatnot. So I can see that. So yeah, it's a lot more easier for sure. But my next question is about the bull runs and the cannonball run.
Yep.
You've done a lot of bull runs.
Yep.
You've done cannonballs as well?
No, never cannonballed.
Why not?
Doesn't appeal to me. The idea of endurance racing from coast to coast. It's one of those things that there's like a very small group of people that are into it, and they're very vocal about it, and the rest of the world doesn't give a fuck. Okay. So like
Yeah.
It's somebody doing something that they think is important and then trying to convince you that it's also important, and you're just like, cool.
I see.
So the idea that, and like even and like I'm friends with these guys that do it, but like the Alex Roy, like, oh, I just did 32 hours across country from here to here, and nobody's going to be able to beat this. Don't even attempt it. It's too dangerous. I was an idiot for doing it. And then like right now they're 7 hours faster than him. So like the guy who had the spotter plane and all this and all that, oh, I've tried it 4 times and finally got a successful attempt. Don't try this at home. You'll never beat this record. It's unbreakable. They beat it by 7 hours.
That's a lot.
It's not even the same game.
Right.
That's like putting a high school team up against a professional team.
You know, it's funny how you say that, because like when I watch the Cannonball Run, and you know when I heard when Ed did it, and then what's his name, Doug and Augie,
Talbot,
what's his name? Gosh, starts with a name.
Sure.
I can't remember. Anyways, you know, they come back and say, oh, well, we had like a team. Like we had 6 cars ahead of us, 6 cars behind us. We made the car look like a police interceptor or something like that. In my opinion, when I look at that, I'm like, okay, that's not challenging enough, because you're trying to make it super easy.
There's so much effort there. Like
exactly.
And yes, you're trying, but that's the thing. They're trying to do something that nobody really cares about.
Right. Yeah. And it's like you put all this effort, you put all this money, you put all this time into it.
The one guy who just jumped in the Mustang rental car and did it by himself.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing. The guy just drove fast.
Basically,
like, he's just like, he went and drove fast, didn't get caught.
And like, he had fun.
Yeah, whether he had fun or not.
And in my opinion, I'm like, it's cool to have that adrenaline. Like if you're about to get pulled over,
it's not safe though. It's like,
of course, it's not safe.
Anytime you say like you're going to be driving at high speed for 26 hours, 24 hours, you need to sleep.
Right.
So you're either hopped up on something keeping you awake, or you're like overly caffeinated. Like whatever it is, your reaction time is going to be off. There is. I don't feel that the juice is worth the squeeze on that one.
Right.
Like,
because it only takes one mistake.
Yeah, one like, oh, you're going through a turn at 150, hit a bump, and you're rolling over in the desert. Why?
As simple as a tire blowout.
To win an absolute, it's not even like there's a pot of gold at the end.
Correct.
Like this is just so you can tell other people that like, hey, I did this, and everyone's like, oh, cool, and you get like 15 seconds of fame. While Jalopnik and a couple other car channels write about it, or some news network says these idiots drove across the country way too fast. Local cop says they'll be on the lookout, and they know these attempts are like, what does that get you? You get no trophy, you get no recognition. There's no like, you try to write a book, but by the time you go to write your book, somebody else already beat your record, and now you got to go out and beat it again.
So then, with your experience with the bull run, like share that experience, like what from
bull
beginning to end.
Completely different though. Bull run is like it's like a gumball bull run, players run. All these trips were just like parties for car people with money.
Okay.
And it was just like a bunch of people being lawless because they don't care. When you have the numbers, you have the strength in numbers. Everyone's like, I'm not going to be the one to get pulled over. So everyone just starts to horse around. The food was never terrific. The experiences were never that great. It was a lot of driving, some pretty nice hotels, some decent locations. But at the end of the day, I'll remember the people that I met, and I'll remember like the driving destinations. But even on the trips, part of the reason I started Adventure Drives is that you go do this and like, oh, cool, we're at a really cool place. All right, get your route card and go. And it's like, don't you want to enjoy this? Like, it would be really nice to, like, it's a cool place. Like, but no, just snap your photo and go.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's not so enjoyable.
Right. And in Adventure Times, it's more of you creating a package for people that come back and say, hey, if you want to go overseas and you want to, you know, drive around these roads, I can build this for you. You come up with all the numbers and everything. And you say,
Adventure Drives is different. Adventure Drives is like, for people that like the road trip experiences, they like driving fast, but they don't need to deal with the people dressing up like chickens to like have everybody look at them. There's no, it's like the late night parties are out. Like people are still out there. They're at the bar. They're having drinks. They're doing whatever. They're socializing, but it's not like we got to go get bottle service everywhere we go, or like where's the police escort? Where's the throngs of fans waiting for us to pull in? We're like, we don't need that. Like, It's like, I don't need somebody to tell me I'm cool because of the car I drove up in. I'd rather just go and like, I'm here to hang out with these people.
Yeah.
And it's much less show-offy. Nobody's out there to like steal the limelight. Nobody's out there trying to be the center of attention. And we don't have stickers on the car, so we don't get pulled over.
I feel like I'm related to him so much about this. So, because that's exactly how I feel. I mean, we got the Triple Crown rally back in Dallas, and it's like they need the police escorts. They got to be at such restaurant. They're going to be doing bottle service, and for what they're charging, you're just like, okay, I understand that, but does the fame really have to matter, or is it really cool that 10 of you just show up to a random restaurant or something like that, and people go just take pictures of your cars, or
that
just
never
say,
bothered
hey,
us. Like,
yeah,
look,
absolutely
when we
not.
park all these cars, people
Absolutely,
are snapping photos.
yeah, absolutely. I think, but that's the joy of it. You're just like, okay, somebody's recognizing it, but you're not begging for it. At the same time.
That's the thing about these rallies. They tell all the locals where they're going to be, so they can come and like, because like part of it is you take a bunch of nobodies with money and you make them feel special by being like, oh, can I get your signature? Because I don't know who you are.
But then again, with the simple ones, like when I host my exotic cruises, like some of them, they come and say, I don't want anybody to be near my car. I don't want anybody to touch my car. I don't want anybody to look at my car.
Yeah.
Because, one thing goes bad, something might go worse. And I was like, okay, well, I can respect that aspect. But to have the less the attention, the better, because it just makes it that much more fun. And if somebody's like really curious about it, you're just like, okay, well, you can sign up and look it for yourself. I don't have to explain to you, or here's my videos, or here's my, the way that I'm going to promote it. So good for you, man.
It seemed like a natural progression. Again, this all stems back to like the trip I did with Farah and everything like that. They're like, wow, you planned like a really awesome week. That was a great time.
Correct.
And I was like, all right, well, if I could do this and people are enjoying it, let's see if I could turn it into a business. And when I sold the rental company the first time in 2015, I was like, all right, well, now that I've sold the company, what are we going to do next? And I'm like, let's do something fun. And the idea was to do the travel company because I enjoyed it and I could turn it into something cool. And then I got back into the rental business. Now I do both.
Cars and travel.
Yeah.
Simple and easy. Simple and easy. Are you originally from New Jersey?
Yeah.
All your life in New Jersey?
I was in New Jersey my whole life. And starting in like 11, 12, 13, and 14, I was snowbirding. So I was down in Miami as well.
I was going to ask him, what's the story about this 1948 Buick?
So my grandfather gave me that.
Okay.
And he gave it to me before he died. I kept it for a while.
Gotcha.
And it's just like one of those things. It wasn't pleasant to drive. It became more of a burden for me to keep the thing. Then it would sit there. It would start leaking on the floor. I'd have to fix it.
Right.
Park it there another 2 years. Starts leaking on the floor again. Got to fix it again.
Right.
And I'm like, it's not like I enjoyed driving it around. If I ever moved it, it was like a hurricane was coming, and it was like I had to move it at like 3 a.m. And it just it wasn't enjoyable. Like I liked having it because it was a memory that he gave me the car and everything like that.
Was it like his first car?
No, he had a handful of cars. Like that 67 Galaxy 500 was one of his cars as well.
Gotcha.
But like the 48 Buick was one of the older ones that was less drivable. Very heavy, like 3 in the tree. It's got it literally like boats around. It didn't have a suspension that could handle anything. It was just, I don't know. It just wasn't as like the headlights were non-existent.
I see.
You can't see anything. So it was just like the only thing I've got. I rented it for Jersey Boys, so it was like the opening scene in the movie. Like just you see the car coming down the road.
No way.
So I mean that's the extent of why I had that car. I had it for probably 6 years, and then ultimately it was just like, you know what, I'll just give it to somebody. It was sold it to somebody for like $5,000 just to get it out of there.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, because I saw in one of the YouTube videos, I was like, I got to talk about this Buick, so this is probably pretty interesting. But I want to talk about your Corvette.
Sure.
It's your favorite car.
I mean, I've had it for a while. I'm going to keep it forever, but yes.
Tell me the story. Why the Corvette? What made you even buy it?
So, I mean, early on, I was going to buy a Mustang, and I was going to get a Cobra in 2000. But 2000, the production was delayed for whatever reason. I think that from the 99, they then canceled the 2000 production and pushed off to 2001.
And you had a red one, correct?
I had a Cobra R, but I got that after the Corvette.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I was like, you know, I'll get a Mustang. Like I see the Corvette, but it's more expensive. I'll get the Mustang and just modify the Mustang and make it faster than the Corvette. Okay. So I was going to go like Celine 281 or something like that. And ultimately, I'm glad I didn't do that.
Right.
But at the time, when you're talking to a kid who's like, he's like spending his paycheck every week, it made more sense.
Gotcha.
And so I put the order in for the Mustang over in Hackensack at All American Ford, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, it's being delivered, it's being built now." And then like ultimately, I called Ford and I'm like, "What's going on?" And they're like, production hasn't even started." So these guys were feeding me a line of crap. So I went up to the Chevy dealership in Paramus, and they've got a Chevy dealership with a big Corvette showroom upstairs. So I went in, I'm like, "Hey, can I test drive the Vet?" No. It's like, "Why not?" It's like, "Yeah." I'm like, I pulled up in that Camaro outside V6 automatic. But it was like I pulled up in that new Camaro outside. Can I? Nope, can't test drive it. Like if you want it, it's $4,000 over list or $3,000 over list. And I'm like, oh man, like you wouldn't do it for MSRP? No. So then I went up to Ramsey, which is where I bought they're out of business now, but it's where I bought my Camaro. And I'm like, I went into my sales guy. I'm like, look, I'm interested in buying a Corvette, but I don't want to spend $1 over sticker price.
Okay.
And the guy's like, all right, we can do that. I was like, oh, good. So then I ordered the car. It was supposed to come in like, whatever. It was supposed to come in it's like 6 or 8 weeks or something like that. I also, before that, I was also looking at the BMW M3. It was like a nice like blue M3 or something
The
like
E92?
that. E46.
E46, nice.
And
with the SMG or a manual?
No, it would have been a manual. So
we're big time BMW.
Yeah,
guys,
it would have been the what is it? The Laguna Seca blue.
Ooh,
so
nice.
This was back in the day, and I went in to like the dealership in Tenafly. Like, yeah, we got a waiting list of like 86 people, and I'm like, all right, well then I'll just go get the Corvette. Then I went up, ordered the Corvette, and then like 3 weeks later, I get a phone call that my Corvette's in. I was like, oh, you said it was going to be like 8 weeks. It's like 3 weeks. It was like, oh, even better. But then the BMW dealership called me and they're like, hey, guess what? We've got an M3 just came in. It's yours if you want it.
Okay.
And I was like, for real? Like what happened to the other like 86 people? And then they're like, yeah, blah, 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 like 5,000 over MSRP. Keep your car. I'm like, you can't tell me there's a list of like 86 people and you'll put my name on the list and then take a car in 3 weeks later and then try to sell it to me over list or say like the other 86 people all turned you down. So that felt very fake to me.
Okay.
So I went, picked up the Corvette and I've owned it ever since. And I was like, at the time I was like, I would just get the Corvette and keep it stock.
Okay.
Versus modifying it like I would have to do with the Mustang.
Okay.
And it didn't really work out in the long run. I sort of did the usual, like, I'll just do an intake and like wheels and exhaust. All right, now I'm just a cam now, and like a heads and cam. Now I'm gonna do and a blower, built motor, built trans, full race car. Like
I feel like people know you more based off of your Corvette.
Yeah, probably.
You know, like they're like, oh, are you the guy that has a race car Corvette? You're like, yeah. Like absolutely, and so that's what makes it so special. I mean, you always got Cletus, you know, with his Corvette. You know, you got every single car has a personality with the person. But the fact that you bought that brand new and you fully built it, and you know, you're getting the best out of the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if it breaks down, you're like, dude, I can go to AutoZone and pick the part and bring it back and slap it on. And it should be good. Versus our BMWs that you want to go get a single part. You're like, I think I have to wait for 2-3 weeks now. And you're like, it's not a cheap part. You know, you got to spend hundreds of dollars to get one specific part in. And so, but this is a really interesting story. So, and I'm really fascinated about that. I mean, when I was watching your YouTube videos when I was younger, obviously the Corvette was really, you know, eye-striking because you're just like, oh man, he's building that car.
Yeah.
And the student driver sticker is what makes it even better. So
that was like a joke. I was going to like a Lambo rally and I was like, all right, I gotta like try to fit in. I'll be like the gag for the day, but everybody loved it, so I just left it on.
Right, and then like right now the new stickers like move over, you know.
Yeah, that's been pretty. They've been doing that forever.
Right. So, but then again, like it's unique in its own way. Every single sticker that you're gonna put on your car, regardless of whatever the meaning is, it's like, yo, that means this is this person. So you're just like, okay, well that's cool. But here's my next question: one car that you would be 100% confident in, doesn't matter which car, just one car that you're like, I'm confident with all the capabilities of this car. What would it be and why? Why?
Because it's a great car, great all around car. You could drive it like I would get in that car and drive to Alaska and back.
No shit.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow.
Go Porsche buy one. Yeah.
No, I mean I had one, great car. There's another one over there. Shabam still got his.
Okay.
When I'm done building my house, I'm going to go buy another one. So
nice. So what is unique about the GT3 world?
Just a great driving experience.
Nice.
Like the power level is right. It's not too fast. It's just well balanced. It performs very well. It's very nimble. It's stable at speed. It gets good gas mileage. The ergonomics are good. It's comfortable. I mean, there's 100 different reasons. It's like the best car you can buy.
Manual or PDK?
Manual.
Manual. Okay, gotcha. I respect that more.
There you go.
I think manual is just more fun. Yeah. And then the sound of the engine just by itself.
It'll rev all day. It doesn't break. It's reliable.
Basically, yeah. No, it's a real. I mean, the handling on the car is just something else. But what color?
Mine was black and orange. The one over there is blue and red.
Nice. But what's going to be the next one you're going to buy?
I don't know yet.
Haven't decided?
It'll see. I got to figure out if I'm going to buy a new one, if I get a used one, or what the decision is at the time.
Okay. Would it be a track car too?
No, I mean I track them, but like it's not. I don't have anything. My Corvette's the track car.
I see. So you wouldn't build any other car?
Not for a track.
There's no car that you come back and say, okay, I want to build this from this all the way to this.
If I was going to buy a track car, I'd buy an open wheel car.
Okay.
Like an old F1 car, like a mid 90s.
Which one though?
Doesn't matter. Something that screams.
Screams and shoot flames, basically.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like a V12 that just rages. It weighs nothing. It's 1,800 pounds, and it got 600 or 700 horsepower, and it just.
Interesting.
I drove. It was a Renault. I forget what was it? It was like an 07 Lotus or Renault at Coda, but it was like a downpour. But I just remember that car at the track was unbelievable. Like I was like anything I thought the car. Well, I was like, all right, let me start braking. Whoop, I got to accelerate to get back up to the turn now because I didn't expect it to go from 190 to 50 that quickly.
Okay.
So it was just like it was wild.
So I understand you got that Supra right there. GTRs.
Yep.
What do you think?
Which are the R34s, 33s, 32s, or the
33,
35s?
34s, 35s.
I don't like the 35.
Why?
I don't know. It's just boring to me. They're not manual. They're clunky. They're not. They can make a lot of horsepower and they're reliable, but that gets old so quickly to me.
Okay.
So like the driving experience just isn't fun. If all you're doing is looking to pull up on the highway and smoke somebody with a more expensive car, go buy one. But if you're looking to like actually enjoy the drive, I don't really enjoy the drive of that car. I don't like the way the transmission bangs back and forth. It feels like a heavy car.
Okay.
It doesn't do anything for me.
So you would rather have, for instance, a Audi R8 versus a Nissan GTR?
Absolutely. All day long.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Interesting, because I was like, well, even when I was going through your website or even looking at YouTube, I was like, he doesn't talk about the Nissan GTR. I wonder why.
There's probably a good reason for that.
Well, he explained it just now.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's like I'll take one sports car, please, and that's what you get. Like, there's nothing about it that's like, wow, that looks so good, or like it's a big, heavy car that holds power.
What about the new Supras?
I didn't like it. I bought one for like 2 weeks. I thought it would be a good rental car, and nobody wanted to rent it, so I sold it.
Oh no. And then the new ones that came out with the 2.0 4-cylinder turbo. Oh gosh,
yes, that is
I'm done. If they make that, they made like the MK4 like look-alike prototype that they were touting earlier this year. If they make that, I'd buy that.
What about the new Nissan 400Z, 400ZX
I didn't
or whatever?
really like that. That was a very cookie cutter sports car too. That's still prototype too.
Yeah, basically. Interesting.
But remember, the FT1 looked pretty cool, and then they came out with the Supra, and it's like, that's not that. That's what you promised. This is what you delivered.
I don't know why they do that. Why they change their minds at the very last second.
It's just
money.
Not even money, because like a bumper is a bumper.
That's fair.
And like the FT1 looked really cool. I was like, if they make this car, I'm going to buy one. And they made something that was like similar but much more subdued, and it's like, well, that's not what I was interested in. You had me here, but you lost me here. You might as well not even show me that, because otherwise I'll be like, wow, look how cool it can be.
I see.
That's fair.
That is fair. You got any questions? You haven't even said anything.
I'm enjoying this.
I think you're just shocked that you're just sitting here with Rob and talking to him.
I talk to myself every day. So like, I'm used to it.
Okay, well then I'll go back and I'll say this then. In all honesty, I wasn't really into cars until like when I was like 15 or 16, and I actually started watching Rob's videos.
Really?
Like, dead serious. I started watching Rob's videos when he was talking about, I forget which Ferrari he had at the time, but he just talked about when he bought one of the Ferraris.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but just the way you were talking about it, I'm still not really interested in the Ferraris. That's just my personal preference. But the way you were talking about the cars got me interested in looking into cars more and stuff. And so because of that, I started just like, I'd turn your videos on and like not even really focus on it that much, just kind of like let it play in the background as I'm just like going about my business. And just listening to that over and over again got me into cars more and more.
Nice.
And so that's what introduced me to like the entire, like, I want to go buy and enjoy and have fun with cars. And so I really agree with you on the whole, like, I'd rather go drive than just go sit and look at every car.
A parking lot to see
Yeah,
who
right.
put
Exactly.
what modification under their car.
I'm like,
Right.
you got nice wheels. Like, awesome. Good job. Proud of you. Like,
Yeah.
but, like, good for you. I'm glad that makes you happy, but it doesn't do anything for me because it's not my car.
Sure.
So, like, I just want to go drive. Can we just go drive and go have fun and go, like, have a good meal or whatever?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, like with yours, same thing with me. I mean, just knowing that, man, he's been all over the country. He's been to different countries, and he's driving the shit out of these cars. Like, it's like, it just it gives you that automatic sensation that you're just like, okay, that's why you buy the car.
Yeah.
You buy it to drive it. You don't
Yeah.
buy it to let it sit there. So it's a very, inspiring.
it's
when
a
you,
car. You drive it.
well, I mean, when you get people around, you're just like, dude, we're gonna take this road, then we're gonna take here, then we're gonna take here. We're gonna have lunch here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have an awesome time having lunch, and then we're gonna go down this road, have dinner, call it a day. Just simple and easy,
Yeah,
and
that's all
it's
you
so
need.
much fun, versus, all right, well, I gotta worry about what height I need to be to park my
I need
car
to
in
go
this
wash
parking
my
lot,
car. Can
or
my car
I'm a
fit in?
vegetarian, I can't eat at this
Yep.
restaurant. You're like,
Yep.
God damn it, like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of that. Like, give me a break, So
That's fair.
yeah, so you've been a major inspiration to us, Rob.
Thanks.
Rob.
I
So
appreciate that.
for a long time, and like I said, this opportunity has been great for us. So hopefully we get to come here again and see you again.
Sure.
Or if you ever come down to Dallas, just call us. We'll take care of you.
Yeah,
So we got
No problem.
yeah. So do you have any questions for us?
No, I mean, I'm not a question guy. I just answer what you throw.
We
at me.
always ask, because we're just like, okay, maybe they want to ask us something, that'd be really cool. But if you don't, I'm good. You're good.
I'm
and
good.
So
I had fun.
Good.
yeah, so make sure you guys, like, follow, subscribe. We'll give you all the information about Rob and his companies. So make sure if you have any questions, if you want to rent anything from him, and if you want a really good traveling experience, he's got his other website, Adventure Drives, correct?
Yep.
And then Gotham Dream Cars. So once again, thanks all for having us here,
Yeah,
Rob.
you got it. Anytime.
So once again, my name is Naveed. This is Cameron. Rob, we're signing off. Have a great day, guys.